Okie.
Okie.
Okie and welcome.
We acknowledge that we're gathered on the lands of the Blackfoot people of the Canadian Plains.
We pay respect to the Blackfoot people.
Oh,
So I've got my essay written, and I've been working on it for about a week.
dang it.
So now I'm going to show you how I use Grammarly to edit. Okay, so here's my essay.
Respect to the Blackfoot people's past.
Present.
We recognize the thousands of Indigenous people
From many diverse nations,
All left church home, including members of the Blackfoot Confederacy,
Gates,
Siksika.
Aakitaapitsinikotsio'pa people,
as well as other First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. We respect Indigenous people's culture and heritage.
beliefs,
Truth
and relationship to the land.
that stretches back in time.
We will not blink at history.
We will not blink at history.
And we will learn from it.
Okie is an invitation. A step forward.
Blackfoot. Okie means hello.
Oki means hello.
Hello.
Okay.
Okie, and welcome to the lands of the Blackfoot people.
Okay, and welcome to our show that is called TJ. What is this show called again? Pronounce it for us. No. Annette, you should pronounce it for us. You named it.
Aakitaapitsinikotsio'pa.
That is beautiful. It's going to take me 6 months to learn it, but I'm going to learn it eventually.
Quote, there is room on this land for all of us, and there must also be,
Oh.
after centuries of struggle, room for justice for Indigenous peoples.
Sorry, hang on one second.
All that we ask, we will.
All right, there we go. Sorry about that. Who's the producer of this show? He should get on top of stuff around here. Damn it. Anyways, welcome to our program. This is basically a discussion we're having between a white guy and some really smart women. Two happen to be Blackfoot. So I'm going to learn tons. So I'm glad to be here. And really how this works is we're just going to have conversations. If you wish to join in, we would welcome you. This is a conversation I think we all want to have. We all should be able to thrive together. Like there's no reason why we can't have a beautiful, caring existence where we're looking out for each other. And I believe the traditional Indigenous ways, that's the way they were. You grew up in a community that looked out for you, and you had 4 or 5, aunties or older siblings who are going to look out for you and make sure you stayed safe, right? And the connection with the land. I think there's so many amazing things that we can explore and adapt to kind of heal and and collectively make a better existence for all of us. Annette, welcome to the show. TJ and Diane, we've been here for 1 episode, and we didn't really know what we were doing for that. But the first thing we got to start with, Annette, is what is your Blackfoot name, and what does your Blackfoot name mean?
Okie, nistuanako kinatu'satkiu. My Blackfoot name is Natu'satki, and it means sun woman, but it was given to me by a former high school student that I had while I was principal at Kana High School. It's my 4th Blackfoot name. I was given a baby name by my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, Mokakin. And then in 1978, we had to winter at our grandparents' place with my parents because it was too much snow. We couldn't make it into our home driveway. So we wintered with them. And one morning, my grandfather was going to paint our faces, as is our culture. And so my mother reminded him that I had won Indian Princess the year before in grade 7, and that he had said he was going to change my name. And so he gave me my new name, Miatnistikitstakyatki, which means different offerings, many different offerings woman. And then in 2010, I completed my Master's of Education, and I took my paternal grandmother's name, who raised me when I was a baby. And and so her name was Biaki, but I used the formal name of Eshbiaki, which means dancing woman. And then maybe 2 years later, I had a student who said, Annette, I want to give you a Blackfoot name. And I was like, I just took my grandmother's name, but okay, go ahead, give me a name. And so he gave me the name Natu'saki, and he said it's because you bring such brightness to our school, to our students, to your students. So
Wow,
I accepted the name.
Yeah, what an honor, Natusaki. You bring sunshine, you bring light, you let your light shine. Oh, that's beautiful. That's
Thank
beautiful. Wow. So, you know what we're trying to do here? Got any thoughts? Like, we're just making shit up as we go is what's happening. So
if I could chime in, Alan.
TJ.
First of all, I just, again, Alan and Diane, thank you for creating the space for us to have conversation. I extended the invitation for Annette to join us because I really am inspired by Annette and the good work that she's done for our community back home in Kainai, and she's now working in Lethbridge. And you can tell us a little bit about that if you want to, Annette. But I just wanted to give some gratitude and some thanks to start this off, because Annette is one of the few people who I know well enough to be able to say, hey, can you help me learn how to say something in Blackfoot? Because I know that I'm slowly starting to learn little pieces, and she stretches me, and she's helping me to learn that way. And so I invited her to come and to be able to share the name that's been given to this show, whatever we're calling this space. And I really liked what she wrote to me when she said, the name of it is The Place Where We Will Tell Our Genuine Stories to One Another. And
you see where I did this little, TJ, you see where I did this little banner on the bottom, but I didn't remember the thing. We should change it to that. Would you think that we should probably change that?
Yeah, we should put the right explanation on it. And so I just wanted to give Annette a little bit of time to just share us a little bit about your story and why you said even yes to come tonight, and how you helped to come up with that name to share with us tonight. Just need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, there's never a moment when we're not in the space like this and you say you need to unmute, right? I was as a child, I was around Blackfoot, but my parents and my grandparents, my aunts, uncles, for the most part, went to residential school and were not allowed to speak Blackfoot. And so it was a real resistance for them to speak Blackfoot. And my father recently, maybe about the last couple of years, he told me the story of how he resisted speaking English, and so he spoke Blackfoot, and he was punished in residential school because of that. So it really made me that much more. I had always wanted to learn Blackfoot, and I taught Blackfoot. 20 years of formal educator now, and my first job was to be a Blackfoot teacher. And I must tell you, I was like a deer in the headlights. Was really in this space where I really didn't know what I was doing, but the best learning that I had. So anyway, a couple of years ago, when my dad told a story to some of my university students that I was facilitating a course, and he told that story, so it just was like full circle for me to see his resistance, to hear his resistance, and to know that he really tried hard for his children to speak Blackfoot. And so it just made me that much more determined to speak the language, to learn the language, and to share the language. You don't speak in a vacuum, right? You need other people to tell stories, to tell your story and hear their stories. So when TJ invited me to share the story, to come up with a name, it took me a few days, and she came back to me, and I was thinking about it when the old people, when my grandparents would go and visit with their peers. what they would say was Aakitaapitsinikotsio'pa, right? We're going to tell a story. We're going to tell stories to each other. And so that's where when she said meaningful conversations, then genuine in Blackfoot is nita, to be real, to be genuine. To be real, when we say nitsitapi is the real language. That's what we call ourselves, nitsitapi. But nitapi is to be genuine. So they're almost the same, but yet there is a little bit of a difference when you're talking about it. So and then the last part of that word, Aakitaapitsinikotsio'pa, the O with a glottal stop, PA. I just learned last summer from an elder that when you have that ending, now that word is a place. It's now a place. So I really wanted to make sure that I put that there, and I just learned that too. So there's always a learning. I just get so much more when I'm learning, but also in the teaching too. So that's my story for the name, but in the background behind it, that's there's a lot to it as well. Why I'm here, why I agreed to be here with PJ when I just jumped at the opportunity to be here. Sharing the language is some real sacred work, and so I look forward to hearing more about this space, but also in any way to be part of this space.
Well, we are certainly glad that you're here. Thank you so much. I wanted to clarify one thing. You're saying the PA at the end, the whatever that the PA is, that makes it a place. That changes that to a place. Okay, got it. And did I get I think I got it right now. A safe place to share our genuine stories. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And what kind of, so in Lethbridge, what is your role regarding the Blackfoot people in Lethbridge? How are you, besides being a great example and a loving person in the community, that kind of thing, are there things that you're involved with the Blackfoot community here in Lethbridge?
Well, I right now my biggest involvement is my grandchildren, and my children. I was like I said, this is my 20th year as a formal educator. I went into the teaching profession a little bit later in life, but I had always been a teacher. I taught religious studies classes out on the reserve for little people, for little children. And then I went into community health on the reserve. And then I went into complete my education, and I did a 4-year environmental science bachelor's degree. And then I went into my Bachelor of Education, teaching secondary science. And then I started teaching here in Lethbridge, and I taught several courses, but Blackfoot was the first course that I taught. And my parents were instrumental in helping me develop that course that worked for me. It took 5 years, and then I went back to the reserve and I became an administrator, a school administrator, and I was an associate principal for 2 years, a principal for almost 8 years, and then I was the deputy superintendent for a year and a half, and then I came to Lethbridge, back to the school division that I started in, and was a division principal for 3 years, and this year I'm currently on the I'm a associate program director for the Model Schools Literacy Project for the Martin Family Initiative. So that's what I'm doing. I'm working with principals right now across Canada, from BC all the way to Labrador. And so mentoring them, and have been given the opportunity to support professional development. I'm not the professional developer, but I've been given that opportunity to work with a great professor from the University of British Columbia, who has worked quite some time in revitalizing Indigenous languages. Last year, or when I first began back with the school division I was with, we were successful in a grant application to develop a resource for Indigenous Blackfoot language specifically. And so we developed an online resource called the Mi'kmaq Stories and Games for Our Children. And so that's online right now, and it's open to everyone. So we were supposed to develop language for traditional games, but because of the pandemic, it really changed. We tried to stay faithful to that, if you will, but we did manage to get stories from the elders. We worked with elders. There was a group of us that worked with elders to come to understand the language a little bit better. So then we were able to put the resource together, and I worked with another professor from the University of British Columbia, who's a linguist, and so we did a lot of work on that, and so the school division continues to work with that and develop that, and so our children are using that, and we have dedicated our time. We're not getting any kind of payment now. The grant is over, but we have dedicated our time to continue to develop that resource at no cost to anyone. It's something that we believe in, and we believe that there's some really great work out there. So we try to make a space where a lot of the work could be put in a organized way. At least in our minds, this is what organized and systemic look like. So we try to do that and support all the teachers of the school division to use it and learn more. So like I say, I'm not involved. I sit on many boards and many committees. I sit on the St. Mary's University board of directors. I was on the Senate for the University of Lethbridge. I was just invited to sit on the Ever Active School board, Ever Active Schools board. So I'll be doing that. I'll just be starting that one next week. So I'm involved in a lot of things, but yeah.
Wow. Yes, you are involved in a lot of things. That's amazing. Thank you so much. That's incredible. I have questions, but I don't want to dominate the whole conversation. TJ, Diane, jump in here. I'm gonna try and shut my mouth for a couple minutes.
Go. Diane, you just need to unmute.
I clicked on the picture instead of on the taskbar. But Annette, wow, there's like so many questions that you can ask in that beautiful introduction and repertoire of gifts and talents that you have. So a real simple question, the national project that you're involved with, is that specific to the Blackfoot language, or is it broader than that?
Well, because we have a very small group, if you will, we're surrounded by many Indigenous languages. So Blackfoot is actually endangered, if you will, from the UNESCO. It's an endangered language. So, and there's not too many that have those similarities. I mean, there might be one or two words that I've heard from the Cree language that might be similar, but even at that, if I were to speak to a Cree person, it would be very different. So Blackfoot is unique, as are all the other languages. I'm not saying they're not unique. They're all unique, but we're just kind of in this little circle. There are 4 sister tribes, and so everyone is trying to any which way to develop resources, to develop spaces. So I think that's there can't be one way. And I don't believe that there is a right way or a wrong way. I believe all of those ways are valuable to bring about an understanding and hopefully further conversations in the language. I was just talking to a teacher a principal who Cree language is there, and she was explaining how she was thinking about how you develop speakers. And so I love that, because I think when we're talking about that, the strategies could be very similar, but you have different languages that you're teaching. We're all in that same boat, if you will. in that all of our languages were oppressed and suppressed, and so however we can celebrate all the little things that are being done and the big things that are being done to help our any young, old, middle-aged learn the language. I'm a firm believer that all children, that's what our resource was for all children, not just Blackfoot children. It was for all children within our division. So that inclusivity is so important.
That's beautiful. I don't know if you see the chat. We have a Melissa Weiss Chernowichin. I'm going to pronounce it. Sorry if Melissa, if I mispronounced that, but she has just given us some love and saying my auntie and cousins are Blackfoot. Well, Oki, welcome, Sister Melissa. Glad you're here with us. One thing to tag on Diane's comment, the national program, you had said it was like there was a name you had associated with it, and I missed it. Archie something, or what? Tell me more about that.
Meoch Bukwiks. It's a Blackfoot story of the children who went back to the stars, and so it's something that's told at certain times of the year. And so the Pleiades, actually, it's the Pleiades star cluster. And so that one, it doesn't disappear, but you don't see it in the night sky. You don't see it till the early morning at certain times of the year. And so that one you can see it now in the night sky, but up until about March. And so it has to do with hunting. It has to do with the hunting season that our ancestors followed. And so I heard a great story. I really hope to capture that somewhere. Eldon Yellowhorn, who is also from, I believe, the University of British Columbia, could be Simon Fraser University in BC, but he's from the Piikani Reserve, or that's where he was raised, was in Piikani. And so he told a beautiful story of it, and I had never heard that part of the story. And so so this site anyway is called the Meoch Bukwiks, Stories and Games for All Our Children.
Oh, that's beautiful. If you don't mind, I want to share a little story with you. Today, I was chatting with my Indigenous friend. His name is Aakitaapitsinikotsio'pa. Alvin Mills is his English name, and Aakitaapitsinikotsio'pa is his. Anyway, so we're chatting. He's going to do this 7-day recovery camp. TPs, people who have substance abuse disorders, going to come with him, stay in the TPs. Reconnect with the land, reconnect with their culture, reconnect with himself. Is going to be beautiful. But anyways, we're chatting today, and I was telling him about that. I teach firearm safety and that kind of thing. And so he was saying, "Oh, we'll have to go hunting. You and me will have to go hunting." And I said, "Well, I don't even know if I want to tell you this because you might not want to be my friend anymore, Nappy, but I'm a vegan. I don't even eat meat, man." And so he said, "Oh, I still like you, even that. It's okay." So, but it was quite funny. We had a good chat about it. So he still wants me to come hunting. I don't know why. I could kill an animal, but I'm not going to be eating it. So I guess if somebody else is, that's a good thing. So anyways, there's my little story. TJ, you've been so quiet. Is your mute broken or something?
No. I'm learning the importance of listening. And so today I've really just been listening as my beautiful friend and relative from Kainai is sharing with us today. I feel so very blessed to have you with us tonight. And I wanted to share with you that, this space that Alan is creating, it really is for this. It's meant to be for these genuine storytelling conversations where we might just create a little bit more awareness for any of those who happen to be online and following us or following Alan's YouTube channel. But that, what I really was intrigued and why I said yes to Alan to coming on board was just this idea of authenticity, this idea for us to be real, ask real questions of one another, but to create that safe space to ask questions that we might not otherwise get to ask. So anytime I can share the space with some folks like yourselves, all three of you, who carry wisdom, I feel really blessed. So I thank you for Alan for creating the space, and for Annette and Diane joining us tonight.
Beautifully said. Thank you, TJ. So, you know, Annette, it's just I've told TJ and Diane this because they've listened to me for 3 times already. So every story that I've already told them, you're new. You don't know my stories. So for you, it's going to be a good one. There's this guy. His name is Daryl Davis, and he's a blues man. He's about my age, and he's a blues man, black man who's a blues man. And his father was with the U.S., like with a U.S. Foreign Services kind of a thing. And so Daryl would go with his father all over the world, and everywhere he went, he met people with different colors and different languages and different religions and smelled differently and talked differently, right? All these kind, and never had any problems. It was just everybody got along. It was totally fine. There was no, oh, you're different, so I can't like you. Nothing. It was just like this beautiful, multicolored mosaic, you know, kisses and hugs and loves and sunshine everywhere. Then his dad gets a posting back in the U.S. So Daryl joins up to be a Boy Scout. So they're doing the scout troop down the road, and Daryl starts getting beamed with like rocks and bottles and such, right? And his scout leaders, they see what's going along, so they, you know, protect him from further abuse, right? And then Daryl says, why do they hate the scouts? And the scout leader said, well, they don't hate the scouts. They hate you because of your color. And so he's just so shocked. He can't believe this, right? As he gets older, what he does is he starts going to the leaders of Ku Klux Klans, like Grand Wizard types people, and just say, I'm Daryl Davis. I'm a black man. I'm here to meet you. Say hi to you. And in like, I forget, 30 times, he had that discussion, and the people never ever met a black man before. They meet a black man and they say, oh my, this is same as me, same. And then a lot of these guys just kind of hung up their coats and their goofy hats and called it good, done with the Ku Klux Klan. So, you know, these conversations where we talk about the things that are important for all of us, right? In terms of our relationships with other people, in terms of our love for the land, in terms of our relationship ourselves, especially for people that have been so harmed, so traumatized. Like I recognize, I did not recognize my white privilege, but I get it now, right? My life would have been markedly different if, you know, when I was 5 years old, somebody stepped on my doorstep who doesn't speak my language, who has power over me, who I have no control here, and grabs me and takes me away from the arms of my mother and father. Wow. But like, how the fact that the Blackfoot people are here and have survived 7 years of trying to break their culture and break them, that speaks to the amazing resilience of the Blackfoot people. That's incredible.
7 generations.
7 generations, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what did I say? 7 years, 7 generations, yes. Oh, I'm glad you're here, TJ. I don't know what I was saying.
You know, one of the things that, you know, I think about as you were telling that story, Ellen, is, you know, I admittedly too, even though Kainai is home for me, I have mixed blood. It's been a bit of a catch-22 in this idea of having had some white privilege, yet having some racism, and yet having some lateral violence with my own people. So it's, you know, I think each of our stories is unique. And as I did share last week that, you know, my grandfather spoke fluent Blackfoot, but he never taught it to us because in his current reality back in the day, he thought we would be better off without the language. And, you know, as I'm getting older and older and moving towards grandmotherhood, you know, I'm really realizing how the culture and the language are so interconnected, and that that we really need the language to deepen our understanding of the culture. And so, like I said, I'm really grateful to have folks like Annette, who just share a compassion with those of us who may not have the lived and life experience that she's been blessed with the language. And that, maybe that, these conversations and this safe place where we're sharing our genuine stories is going to create more and more opportunity for us to meet new people, for us to continue these conversations and continue to cross network with one another in ways where doors will open, windows will open, where we can continue to bridge this relationship between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people, and help folks like even myself reconnect in ways that maybe I wouldn't have had opportunity to otherwise.
Yeah, well said, TJ. Well said. Diane, do you want to add anything to close us out? We're trying to be about 30 minutes. We're past a little bit, but
I can see that we're over our time a little bit. I just want to say how grateful I am that you joined us, Annette. It was beautiful. It was beautiful to meet you. I hope I meet you again soon. And thank you.
All right. Well, for our viewers, thank you very much for joining us. If you want to participate, if you want to share thoughts, ideas, if you want to be part of this, then reach out and we will get you included. Gita Matson, keep yourself well.